Thanks, John. Never don't swear on the stream. Thank you very much. And secondly, how dare you, Ponlo? Mr. Ponlo Dodo is very aggressive, isn't he? We've got to have a chat. We've got to have a bit of a talk with Ponlo. We've got to sort him out. I think he's getting a bit too confident with all the attention he's been getting as of late. Army Genius's third pickup now with the Terrorblade. Still a very potent position one to have. DB, a very comfortable Terrorblade player, I'd say. We've seen him play quite a few times, and he does tend to provide the results that you're kind of looking for from your POS 1 when he does pick up this kind of hero. And of course, Terrorblade into Tiny Monkey King just feels very nice as well. Like you're not afraid of anything. If either POS 1 Monkey, POS 1 Tiny, you don't really care either way. The TB just kind of dominates either one. We'll see what Polaris do to try and answer this Terrorblade pickup. You've already kind of got one core at the very least. I think it's safe to assume that we could see a Monkey King support anyway, so you don't really have to worry about that aspect of things. But now what do you do with this Tiny? Because I don't think it's necessarily the greatest matchup into TB.
We've seen Tiny fall flat against the Terrorblade, especially once the Scotty timing is up for the TB. Really easy to kite that Tiny around, put all your range and all your damage output as well. So it is a bit back and forth. They do go with the Snapfire pickup next for Polaris. Could be our CML Snapfire on 5, but again, it could also just be the Boomy hero. In fact, thinking about it, Boomy has played a lot more Snap than CML has, I think, for Polaris in their various iterations. If they do run the POS 4 Snap, they could still run the POS 5 Monkey, and they do pick up the Necrophos as well to counteract the Terrorblade. So we're seeing that response again to these really tanky, high EHP heroes with the Necrophos out, Reaper's Sight to just rip through percent damage onto the Terrorblade. Laning phase, it's not too bad. At the same time, the Terrorblade's not like a Spectre where it will get completely zoned out in the right circumstance. It is a lower HP hero, that Terrorblade, but you do have the Metamorphosis to play at range, so you kind of dodge out the constant death pulses the Necrophos has, and you can still just go for your CS every single time that spell is up, not really get completely zoned out there.
Okay, fair enough. Fourth pickup, Army Geniuses. Where do we want to head with this? Maybe another support. Like, you are still lacking the position 4 right now. You know, assumedly, you'd want to leave that last pick there for Azura.
I mean, you've got... With a Mars, you could try going for a line if you just want some burst on hand. Good control as well. If you were feeling cheeky, and if you are worried about the Monkey King, I think Avenge is a fairly decent way of handling Monkey. You have Wave of Terror to scout the tree line. They do go with a Dark Willow instead, so they've got the Terrorize, they've got good control with Brambles. Works well with Mars. Terrorize plus the Arena just means they're running into the walls, gives you easy damage coming through. Great way to just pile them up for the Bramble Maze as well. So I like the synergy coming through from Army Geniuses. I think they've lined themselves up for a really strong early game with Undying Mars and Dark Willow. That's a ton of team fight early on. You can use the Arena to protect Tombstone, trap them in the Arena with the Dark Willow, and just clean up from there.
Fair enough. Final banouts to come. AG, get rid of the puck. Morphling being removed here, so maybe just not wanting Azura to pick that hero up. Morphling seems to be making a bit of a re-emergence in this new meta. Very, very interesting. Because there are some pretty busted combinations even without the Earthshaker. In fact, we just saw one, John. Very, very fun. Is this going to be another Morphling patch? Are they ever going to be able to nerf Morphling the way it is? Like, with this skill kit, is it nerfable to the point where people just won't pick it up anymore?
I mean, they've been trying. You know, with the latest patch, they took out the Scepter cooldown reduction on Morph, so the uptime for that switcheroo is not as great, but I'm not sure. It just feels like with the right hero, it just gets busted. You know, it's like when... Remember when Ability Draft used to have Divided We Stand? Eco spell?
Yes.
And everyone would just take that. You get literally any spell. Rocket Flare, whatever. You just spam 3 uses and it's just insane. It's just one of those things that the synergy of that spell can make it busted because you suddenly have 2 kits that can use at once, and just by nature, that's pretty busted.
Okay, fair enough. Last pickup, it's going to be the Quap. So Polaris, pretty strong lineup, I'd say. Looks pretty solid. Not so much lockdown for the Quap, though I suppose the Willow Mask could be an issue. A lot of magic burst damage here, but Army Geniuses, not to be outdone, do go down the Invoker route. So, interesting drafts from both ends. Feels like it really could go either way with this matchup. John, is there a draft that you deem superior to the other?
I think it's a hard to say. I think the drafts are fairly even. I would lean maybe just a bit more to Polaris, just a slight edge. The Necrophos does mean that DB is always going to have to watch his back. It means that he has to be much more proactive with his Sunder. He can't afford to wait too long to swap his HP because he could just be dead if the Necrophos finds that angle for the scythe. And you almost never go for Lincolns on Terrorblade, so it's just not the ideal item for him slot-wise. I think Polaris should be able to leverage that advantage they have. They have this Pos 1 Monkey King that can do a ton of work, scale into the late game. Still an issue fighting Terrorblade in late game, though. The range advantage TB has, the Scotty, the lifesteal, the stats he has makes it hard, but you kind of just put Nico on that spot to deal with it, and Mac to try to get the pure damage off the Sonic Wave. So I think the angles for Polaris are a lot more defined, whereas for AG, their team fight's good. They have to balance out this power spike. The Terrorblade has to be online by 25 to 30 minutes in with some early pickups, and you should try to run down Den before the Monkey King becomes too big.
Okay, fair enough. It's going to be a very interesting match. I think it really could go either way, this matchup. Very curious to see how AG performs today. Obviously, yesterday you were kind of talking about it, but they were looking pretty decent. We will head into a game number 1. I didn't mention to you, by the way, John, because you never asked me. But I was talking about Merienda with you earlier on. You pointed out your Singaporean dish. My wife, Jonathan, looking very forward to this, made me butter chicken today, so I'm very excited.
Oh, butter chicken, that is heavenly, Mike. I'm so happy for you.
Before anyone asks in the chat, I'm not of Indian descent, but I do appreciate the Indian cuisine. Everyone always assumes I might be Indian. I'm not, but you know, shout out to the Indians out there if you are watching.
Oh, yes. Gotta love them and their copy pastas. Do miss those copy pastas. Hopefully we see them popping up again. Have to point out, some interesting all chat coming true. DB pointing out that Mac was called Toronto Cebu. And then we got a reply saying Toronto Totio. And CML for some reason asking for chess. So I'm not sure. Guys, we're playing Dota, not chess, CML. Now, mind you, I have to point this out because I just found out recently. I can't believe after all these years. Just found out, you know, CML. He graduated cum laude in his university. This guy's a genius in academics and Dota.
Wait.
What a guy.
He graduated in what?
Cum laude. I don't know
that?
if I'm pronouncing it right. You know, #1 in his batch, or at least top 5 in his batch and grade. So
wow,
this is a really smart guy, CML.
How did he end up in Dota? He
The battle begins.
yeah, very smart. Well done, CML. All jokes aside, I mean, obviously, pretty clever man if he's, you know, graduated top 5. Very, very good. As every university student eventually finds out, John, the degree they pass you at the end is, you know, basically worthless. So I guess that's how he's gotten here. Just play some Dota, much faster money if you can get to TI. I've had that experience as well, John. I know I don't sound very smart, but I was at university once too. As you can tell, it didn't work out for me either.
Still, what is working out here, Mike, are the lanes. You're shaping up AG, giving Wami his Mars. He loves that hero. Again, he's assisted by LYM, and they can use these Brambles to line up for the spear once level 2 is up on Wami. But for now, the matchup, Natsumi on the Monkey King, doesn't really care for Mars. We've talked about this matchup before. He does have the level 1 Boundless, but once you've got that Jingu, you don't care for him. You just run up, use your extended range, stack up the Jingu. You can hold the lane, lifesteal easily if you're under pressure, and just constantly build up. You have great minus armor coming through from CML as well. The Snap, Will Shredder, and Blightstone makes it hard for Wami to actually stand in front.
Yeah, certainly so. Of course, in fact, let's look at top lane, because there is a bit of action going on right now. Creep waves have been dragged around that, the Radiant's, or rather Dire's small camp. We see Varish doing the same thing we saw yesterday as Nico's just being tortured right now. Decay's back up and available. They might have a kill on their hands if Varish wants to go for a bit of a dive. He will not, though. He'll leave him be. In some cases, you'd rather just leave an offlaner on low HP and mana, just because they can't really lane very well without having those two things. And you can see once again the Undying just dancing. So comfortable here on this Undying hero. Even pulls the creep wave away. And he's going to meet in the river now. So Boomy and Varish just playing mind games with each other. And Nico and poor old DB got to deal with it.
Yep, they just constantly have to shift where they're farming up. DB has to run down, secure CS. You are seeing DB get a ton of space out of this, though. He's not being harassed out by the death pulse. He's not having to deal with a Heartstopper, and that's all you want for the Terrorblade. Just give him the room to CS, not have to worry about harassment, not have to worry about the damage from Necros and Tiny, and just play around that, wait for Metamorphosis, or look for the opportunity to pop Meta, and keep building up. Like that's the exact kind of start you want with the Undying lane.
Yeah. Goes over in the mid lane as well, John. Mac on the Quap is going to be against Azura on that Invoker. Right now, Mac having a pretty great time. 16-1, top of the CS board. You'd kind of expect the Quap should just have that advantage against this Invoker matchup. There's not really much chance of Azura being able to really harass out the Quap or find a kill. And he's actually just opted to completely ignore going for the Shadow Strike build, instead opting for the two levels on Blink and Scream, so just going full DPS. And I think it's perfectly fine. The Shadow Strike just going to have no impact against the Invoker, especially when you go Quas-Wex build. You'd rather just have the burst damage available if you can.
Yeah, I like seeing this dedication from Mac. We've seen players try to experiment around by going for the dagger build, like a 2-1-2 build. It just doesn't pan out, and just having this early burst means Azura can't really stand in lane as much. And Mac has so much mobility to contest runes. We saw him snipe the bounty. There are good wards here from AG to watch that aggressive movement, but he can't really stop it. So Mac off to a great start, 20-1. Azura at 16-1, slower paced. As long as he doesn't die, I think you're still going to be happy. You're going to hit that timing with the Urn, and that's when you need to start applying some pressure. Look for a kill to get those charges up.
Certainly so. Boomy still being a nuisance here on the support Tiny, just blocking small camps over and over again. They just continue to keep the wave split up as well. Like, Nico understands he cannot lane against this Undying. He doesn't want anything to do with him. Boomy just continues to just try and pull this wave away, but he misses the pull. Just wasn't quite close enough to get the aggro. And all he's going to get is a lone range creep. And I mean, Varish, if he really wants to, can just continue to chase down Boomy. Looks like they're going to try and deal with this large camp pull, though, and that's a double creep wave being pulled over. Not that it matters, though, because the poor neutral creep is just completely surrounded. Not going to survive for very long with this rate.
Yeah, get bullied out. You still find the CS there on DB. And again, the space being created by Varish is just phenomenal. Nico lagging behind levels, not up there in CS, 16-2 in the Necros, bottom core right now. Not a great start for the Necro. Still is going to hit a decent timing on what seems to be just the Arcane Boot. So he's going to be able to sustain his Death Pulse. And as soon as you hit level 5, level 6, with Reapers up, you could maybe look for that burst play with your Tiny. I think you might need to get some backup from Mac, though, if you really will gun for that early aggression.
Yeah, absolutely. You ever noticed, by the way, they're still there, the skeletons? You know those skeletons the Dark Troll summoner summons from that large camp? They don't get aggro of the creep wave, so you can pull them, but the creeps will not aggro towards them. In fact, hold that thought, because Varish, Avalanche Toss is going to be there, toss back into Nico. He'll try to survive with the Soul Rip, but it looks like it's not going to be enough. And Nico, after all the pain he's had to endure, does get the first blood bonus.
And that's pretty big for a Necros to take. You know, when you get a kill with a Heartstopper R running, the passive just gives you so much more regen. You can just head back to lane, clear out a creep wave for free, not really expend any mana. And that's just a big spike for the Tiny. You hit level 3, level 2 Avalanche Toss. You can just melt through some of those heroes, especially if the Undying hasn't had time to build up stacks with the Decay. So that is something to watch out for from AG. Even DB has to be a bit cautious, as, again, he doesn't have much HP. If he's caught off of position, he could just get melted by the magic damage here.
Boomy's going to try and close the gap. Won't be able to get in range to get a nice toss back onto Nico. Have a look at... Oh, in fact, never mind. Hold on. Avalanche Toss is going to be there in the end, but DB going to survive, gets the Sunder off, and starts rushing towards Nico. He hasn't got lockdown, but he does have meta, and Azura has rotated over. Just needs to get in range for the Tornado, but now Matt's showing up on the Queen of Pain. has the Sonic Wave up and available, but Nico is going to drop on Mac. He has not found the angle he's looking for. He'll go after Varish. Deafening Blast is there, but now DB can get right back to work onto Boomy, but Mac is stuck around. Sonic Wave's going to fly out, but it's not quite enough DB. He's going to go for a very, very scary kind of TP, and it is not going to work out in his favor. So in the end, Mac, his rotation does pay off.
They get punishment, they do lose Natsumi down bot, but I think the payoff's a lot bigger. Terrorblade falling down early is a much better target than the Monkey King. I think the Monkey can just hit this earlier spike, so stalling him out in farm's not too bad. And Azura!
Yep. Avalanche toss is there. Azura stuck around, but he is going to get bursted down. Boomy. He's going to be able to walk away with his life intact. A decent arena, but Wami's got no backup. In fact, Boomy, he's running back in. He wants to give the vision over. Mac, he's going to be there. Bramble's not going to catch really anyone, as Wami is just trapped between the tree line. He's got nowhere to go, and Boomy, he is still alive on this support Tiny. A triple kill out for Mac as well on the quad. Just complete domination at this top lane from Polaris. Army geniuses. Just getting caught with their pants down quite a few times, and they pay for it.
Yeah, they stream in one by one. They get punished. Azura's just taking a bit too long. They even drop the tombstone. They want to kind of clean up Nico here.
They're going to try. Nico doesn't really have the ghost route to rely on. Keep trying to run. Already committed the stick charges, and eventually Azura is going to be able to find himself a kill up at this top lane. In the meantime, though, John Mack, he's been pushing out the mid-tier 1 tower, and he's done already half its HP in damage. That is substantial.
It really is. Once you clear out the mid-tier 1, it becomes easier to look for that Terrorblade who is likely to try and play in that jungle, cut off the farming routes of DB right there. And that's something AG has to protect. They've been so active in the map, though. Boomy?
Oh, Boomy. Mid lane. Rambles out. Lock him in. He's unable to find a toss, but, I mean, if they get this tier 1 mid tower, that's a real big problem for AG. Deny's not going to be there either, so they do get the gold, but, I mean, you've got a Terrorblade that's going to be relying on farming the jungle. That jungle is now wide open.
Yeah, it's going to be tough now for DB to just safely farm up. He hasn't been able to shove in that bot tier 1 to even just give him some access in the bot jungle. So they're going to have to watch themselves. They still have good wards monitoring the jungle entrance. That should keep DB relatively safe as he still tries to build up. He has gone for an early Falcon Blade. Considering that laning start, I think he figured he does need the stats. He does need a little bit more durability and presence. So that will help him out. AG now, they need to kind of reel in some control. Force a fight somewhere if they can, but Varish.
Yeah, toss back onto the Undying, and Nico, he could Reapers, and he will. Tombstone did drop, but Azura going to be unable to really maximize that Tombstone. He's just going to have to accept the fact that Varish is gone.
Yeah, and it's a decent kill. I think the Tombstone just gives you a little bit more value with 125 gold up. You are seeing just how effective Mac is with this build. He has gone 4 points in Blink, 4 points in Scream of Pain. So he's just this highly mobile, bursting hero and just constantly applying his body for it to get kills. They smoke up once more. There was an award to spot that now as it was taken out, and DB is staying around here.
Big trouble. Sonic Wave is up. They've got the double damage. DB gonna try and run, but he's gonna die midair. Mac just screams at him. The DB did not appreciate it whatsoever.
Yeah, couldn't really do much against it. Again, shortcoming of that Terrorblade, high armor, doesn't do much against the magical damage, and AG have just not been able to reel in control on the map. They're still waiting for items to come out, and Wami, he's not even going for a blink, he's just trying to go for a face move. He's still a ways off from that as well.
Well, and Wami be a little bit cautious as well. Boomy still having a look around in the support Tiny for those tossbacks. You've got to give real credit to Boomy as well, John. 0-0 and 7. 007 is the scoreline for him. So Mr. Boomy Bond here on the Tiny, he's done fantastic work on this support Tiny. I mean, we were just talking crap about it in the draft. I was talking about how terrible support Tiny is. But look at the amount of work he's done.
He makes it look amazing. Like his early movements, his disruptiveness in lane, cutting off the creep pulse that Varish wanted to do, gave that room out for Polaris to actually make this work. And now he's just being so active with all the bursts they have on hand. Still a smoke out from AG. Are going to try to run in here.
Now Burmy going to get caught out. Tornado, EMP is going to be there. He'll go for an avalanche out though, but he's completely out of mana. Corki going to help him out a little bit, and he's going to make it. They actually can't kill him. He's been the bane of their existence, and they just cannot get any form of revenge against Burmy. Now Arena dropped by Wami, but reactions are too fast there from Natsumi. And Wami gets the tip.
Yeah, just way too quick reactions. That was a good read, though. They were using that ward they dropped earlier on. They wanted to find that kill. AG's major issue right now is that it does feel like they're a bit XP starved as well. Like, if you look at the Undying, Varish is still level 5. He had to go for Soul Rip build as well compared to last time, and they're trying to chase Boom.
They're going to find at least the snap fire. CML is caught out. They don't even bother trying for Boomy, even though he was held down by the Brambles. They're just like, nah, we can't kill that guy. We're just going to leave him be. It's too dangerous. Like, maybe now they can. But without the Arena, they can't really lock him down. And Boomy, he'll be just fine. He hasn't been farming at all as well, by the way. I mean, usually with a possible Tiny, you would see them take the time to go secure some CS in, say, the dead lane. Work towards that Blink Dagger timing. He's already halfway there, and he hasn't really farmed anything. He's got 8 CS at the moment.
Yeah, he's just, again, working the map really well, lining himself up with the aggression he wants to pull off here. And that aggression's going to ramp up. They've got the Orchid already on Mac. They get the smoke up. They see DB again.
Dire are scanning.
DB's alright for now, but there is a bit of a smoke up here. LYM and Azura towards the top lane. Natsumi is going to be targeted. Last time around, they tried to commit the Arena, but it did not work out. This time, oh, they still won't find him. Natsumi, he's alright. Just kind of bounce his way around, just reading the movement of army geniuses, and well, there's not really much they can do about it. You'll just go back into the triangle, and now you just definitely can't kill him.
Very well protected in that area. I'm surprised AG couldn't drop a ward in the triangle while they were making that smoke rotation. If they got some info on the map, they could try to make these rotations work a little bit better, but they miss out in that information game. Compare that to the side of Polaris. They have this really forward ward watching the ramp of the triangle near the tier 2. They don't have direct vision in the triangle, but they'll know who's in and out of that area and can adjust their movement accordingly. AG has managed to slow the game down a bit, but Polaris still hold on to a 6k lead, 8-4. DB still lagging behind even Nico's farm. They have to get more off the map here.
Boomy's underneath the sentry. They might finally be able to get this man, but no, he runs out of range. Tornado is going to land. Brambles is there. Speed does connect, and they've finally caught him. Nico, he'll have a bit of a voice line there just to celebrate, even though it is his own teammate. In the meantime, Polaris, they'll just keep pushing this bottom tier 1 tower. A very slow process, but when you're 6k ahead right now, I mean, you may as well just play it slow. It just feels like there's no rush whatsoever for this Radiant team.
No, they've bought tons of space out for Natsumi to just keep this farm game going. Still up there in total net worth as well, just about 200 gold behind Mac. More importantly, ahead of the Terrorblade. So he's going to have a BKB up soon. And once that BKB is up, most of the team fight of AG just disappears. Your Invoker can't control the monkey. Your Mars won't do much against the monkey. Even your Dark Willow has nothing against that spell immunity as well. So you're going to hit that major spike for Polaris. And AG, they're not really close to any major pickups themselves. They're still a ways off from getting the blink up on Wami. 500 gold away. He needs to find that ASAP so they can have an angle here.
Tornado. Oh, it's going to be on target. They've got him. Brambles will lock him down. Avalanche is out. Boomy going to try and run. CML there with the cookie. Might have bought him a bit of time, but not for long. Eventually get him. Curse Crown does kick in. LYM will take the kill on the Dark Willow. It's an 8-6 now with a 6k net worth advantage. I mean, Army Geniuses, they aren't really finding the targets they want. But I suppose as long as DB's protected for a little bit longer, they'll have to accept it.
Yeah. They are just trying to stall out for the Terrorblade to hit that spike. They still lose their bot tier 1, and that is still more control coming through for Polaris in the end. There's a little bit more gold trickling down as well towards the monkey. I think AG, they need to somehow catch out Natsumi, but it's always a massive issue against a Monkey King. You can't really smoke into Monkey King. You can try, but if he's in the tree line, he's just got the vision advantage anyway, can react accordingly. So what you need are preemptive wards to spot the Monkey King's farming areas, and what AG has right now are just defensive wards. They've got wards watching their their triangle entrance right now, one on the river even, just to ensure that they've got all the info on hand. And Polaris, they're going to play right into that area.
Azura gets spotted. Primal Spring there. They've got the Orchid out. That'll be Azura gone. Nice Terrorize though. Will buy a bit of time, but not really. Mortimer's Kisses were more than enough from CML. Varish, he can try and get out, but LYM may not be so lucky. He's got the Shadow Realm though. He'll be alright. It's Varish. He drops the Tombstone. Thinking about trying to go for a bit of a turn, but Boomy just going to toss him right back into the loving arms of Natsumi. It'll be just another kill going to the way of Polaris, but they will end up dropping Boomy. So at least DB finding something for his team. Is that it? No, Arena going to be down. Wami's in, but Natsumi is going to kind of block the way for them. And with that BKB active, they just don't want to try and deal with this Monkey King. However, they found the Quap. That'll be an even better kill. Tornado flies through and they've got him, I think, back. He'll go down and LYM, he'll get tipped from the team.
That's a really big card to hold down. There was a massive kill streak running on Mac. And do manage to get that gold flowing back their way. Unfortunately, it does go to LYM. So not the best here to give that bonus gold to. Still?
Oh, Azura. You can't forget about Pumi. I mean, you might have killed him a couple times, but he's still that guy that's going to jump in and just get those tossbacks. With a Necrophos on the same side, it's just too easy.
Yeah. 2 relocations there, the burst damage is on hand. And finally having that blink, Polaris, they're not going to relent. They have no real long cooldowns to wait for. I guess Reaper's Sight is one. And to an extent, Wukong's. It's not really necessary. As long as your Tiny's still strong at this moment, you've got that and the follow-up from a Quap with her mobility as well. So they just keep applying that pressure, keep going to that jungle. They do have good wards watching the jungle entrance, but there is a sentry to spot. They're not going to have that information for too long. And I think as long as AG keeps the info game in check, they should be alright to keep stalling for DB. But that gap is just growing wider. 7k now, not shrinking down yet. They are keeping up pace, but they need to kind of reverse that progression soon.
They do. And AG, I mean, they're still just kind of hanging around in that triangle right now. Zura. Missed the tornado there on Boomy. LYM going to try and move in, but the avalanche is out. With the Shadow Realm, though, you can't really toss back the Willow. LYM will have that safety net in the Shadow Realm. Problem is, though, Polaris, they're just so confident. They might go for that top tier 2 tower so early. And it'll give them a great setup to take the outpost and maybe get started on the Roshan. It just feels like there's not really much in the way of stopping them at the moment.
No, they can't really on the side of HE. They do have the blink up on Wami, so a blink arena is one option, but the follow-up just doesn't feel amazing. Azura is still level 12. Somehow Wami's 13. If your Invoker's lagging behind your offlane Mars, you know you're having a really rough time here.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Back to that top tier 2 they go. Smoke is there though. Army Geniuses, they're going to try and get something done. It's going to be on Wami to try and initiate, but he misses everything. And props to Wami. It's a very hard spear or arena to land on the monkey. It's not easy. But Natsumi, he's been a real pain in the ass here on this Monkey King.
Boomy?
Meanwhile, bot lane, Boomy, forcing the BKB TP out from DB.
Yeah, that's not the way you want your first BKB to be used here for DB. Considering how far behind they are, I think he really would have liked to use that in a fight to secure a kill for himself and keep snowballing. Now he's going to be down to 8 seconds. Still long, but as it ticks down, the fact that a support Tiny can pressure that out from you, it's still rough for AG. They have swung the gold back just a bit, 6k from 7k, but Polaris aren't relenting. Going into the Roche, they are spotted by a ward. CML gets a D-ward, but AG knows they're in there.
They do. Sunstruck's going to come out, but Polaris, do they want to stop? When you've got the Wukong's command, you've got the kisses available from the Snapfire. It just feels like you've got so many great team fighting spells that you can throw out. And in fact, Boomy, he's already in. They found Azura again. Wukong's is going to be there, but the Terrorize LYM puts a stop to it immediately. So that's Wukong's down. I mean, I guess you could still try to go back for the Roshan, but you might just want to wait till that's back off cooldown.
Yeah. They're still going to try. I think they have the confidence because they still have Reaper's Sight. So worst comes to worst scenario, you can still chip down and just immediately burst someone. Boomy.
And they got Boomy here with the Told Snap. Natsumi though, nice balance. The cookie will allow him to get out. Tornado though, still gonna land. Wami drops the arena, does catch up. Boomy, the heals are there though, he's still alive. Sunstrike's not gonna be enough. Back on the front line, big Sonic Wave out. DB, he's gonna be fine for now. Polaris, they won't be able to finish off the Roshan, but they are gonna go for a big 5-man smoker. Try to kind of turn it back their way. A lot of skills missing now from both sides. Boomy. Oh, he's found Azura again. Just look at that. The toss back into the damage, into the Reaper's side. He just can't last. If Boomy gets the toss, you're basically just guaranteed dead.
He's just been on point since getting that blink. Even beforehand, right? 007 has been on a mission. He has been finding that back line. Still, Roshan not going to last too long with a minus armor CML it's providing. And that is going to be Roshan #1 going away with Polaris. AG, they can't really fight in there without Metamorphosis. A lot of their damage is still hanging on DP. And they're just going to have to surrender. So, they're going to have to deal with 2 lives on Natsumi now. As he is going to be working into his Maelstrom. In fact, it's already up. So the output of our Monkey King is shooting up even more. And, Varish?
Uh-oh. Varish has been caught out. Natsumi's there. Another nice pickup for the Monkey King. His second kill of the game here on Natsumi. He hasn't been required to get too involved. He's just kind of been the escape artist this game from the side of AG.
Yeah. They've all been agents here on Polaris, you know, licensed to kill us out on Boomy.
Don't say
licensed
agents,
to
John.
farm.
The chat will lose it. Don't say the word agents.
True, true. Still, Natsumi, you know, working the map well. They are still collapsing top. They have really good control here from Polaris. Look at how many sentries AG has had to plant in their own jungle just to feel safer. They still didn't find that nice new Obs ward right by their outpost as well. So it's taking so many resources to just try to wrangle some part of the map their way. Even then, it's not completely successful yet.
Certainly not. There goes that tier 2. There goes the outpost. This is all after the Roshan's been taken, so a bit of the wrong order, but it won't matter as long as it gets done. Nico, so confident, just standing in that mid lane farming, understanding that if he does get jumped, chances are his team's going to be there in time to back him up and just force another great team fight.
Man. Mike, this is a 24-minute Midas for Azura. He just had to go for back for it. Yeah, he ended up finishing a Midas. I think he just understands if it does scale late, they can get some counter.
Well, I suppose he's got no choice right now as Natsumi. He's jumped in very low. Meanwhile, in the south, there is a Sonic Wave, but they've got Natsumi on the Monkey. Terrorizes there, DB. He can't get the attacks off, though. He's trying to fight Mac instead. Mac, he'll happily man up. But eventually, Wukong's will come out. They've got a back. And we're going back to that Midas. I suppose considering how badly the game's gone for Azura, he kind of needs it. It's just, well, what else could you have bought for that amount of money? Probably nothing that's going to change the game. So you may as well kind of bet on the later stage of the game if you can get to that point.
Yeah, he's had EXP issues on the Invoker for a while. Wami has been ahead in EXP, and he had a pretty rough time in this Mars. So I can see the mindset for going for the Slate Midas. The key thing now for AG is kind of to stall out for you to get max value from it. They have to slow the game down. They have to maybe just resign from defending their tier 2s and just aim for the high ground defense, aim for that high ground play with the spells you have from the Invoker and the Mars. As you take such a massive risk playing outside, they still don't have the vision game locked in. They only have a ward on the bot jungle spot where no one's playing right now. So what they can do on the map is just tied into how little they know right now.
AG still not out of this game yet. 9k behind, definitely salvageable. Just need one good team fight for Army Geniuses. Polaris have been very disciplined though, not allowing that opening. Now a bit of a rotation towards the top lane. They can see Mac. Wami needs a nice initiation, but he's got it as well. The spear is there. Terrorize committed. Everything been thrown out just to make sure that they don't have another Natsumi situation. Meanwhile, though, at the bot lane, DB's been kind of stalked right now by Natsumi himself. But they've missed out. DB, he's out of it.
Yeah, he's starting to get pretty tanky in this Terrorblade. Scotty done. Lots of HP on hand with his high armor. So the Monkey King damage output I don't think is quite enough. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit more time for Natsumi to just face off there. They will need a backup of Mac with that Sonic Wave to melt through TV. AG, again, when you look at the state of the game, they have kept the lead within 10k, right? Like it's maxing out right now at 8k. It was 6, 7k a while ago. So as the game goes on, they are keeping up. They haven't been able to put a dent in that lead, but at the least they're not lagging behind. Polaris, they will go for a smoke play though. Could try to catch someone out.
Natsumi gonna get all the vision required. Boundless gonna be there. Barish. Not quite the target you really want, but you take what you get right now, and Polaris will accept it. Unfortunately for Polaris, there's not really too many objectives to play for. But I suppose if you just dominate the map, it's even better anyway. Roshan's still a while away. I mean, they've still got the Aegis up on Natsumi. Not really in a position to go high ground yet either. So it might be a matter of just controlling the map right now and just continuing to escalate that farm. And naturally, they might be a little bit concerned about how well DB's doing in terms of net worth. And he is actually at the top of the net worth board. In fact, right now, he might have an opportunity to fight. Problem is, they've got the Necropho Shard combination with the Avalanche Toss combo. So it's a lot of damage, John. It's a free shotgun here from Nico.
Yeah, a 1,400 gold shotgun that even heals up as well because it lets out the Death Pulse once it lands. So lots of value there for Nico. He's just running and gunning with Boomy to ensure these kills happen. I have to say, Polaris' ward game, right? We've been talking about that for a while, but they keep planting these highly aggressive wards behind the tier 2 to spot anyone jumping in. Makes it really easy to punish AG, who are just looking for something, looking for literally anything. One creep wave is all they want, but they can't even get that.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Gonna be at that top rune spot. CML is in position to break the smoke. The problem is none of his team is around to try and help him out if he does get caught. Towards the other side, DB going to move over. Wami looking for that big initiation. Boomy into the tree line. Wami, no, he misses the arena. Nico lets him know about it straight away. And you might want to counterfight right now. Mac, look at this. He's on top of the cliff. He's got all the vision in the world. And they make the jump in onto LYM. They found the Dark Willow. Mac, he could be in a spot of danger though. Wami, he's made the jump back in with the Sunstrike out. Mac, no. He's going to survive. You've got to be kidding.
Oh, man. That was on edge. Really great, tight use of the healing coming through from Nico with those Scorching Greaves. It looked like Mac was in trouble. He didn't pop his BKB until the very last, but they do manage to get that hit and run. Not the biggest target to kill off. AG, they're still lined up here.
Balance is out. Wukong's Natsumi. Doesn't really need to throw it out. Oh boy, Reaper's Sight. That's a lot of damage for DB. He barely gets a Sunder off. Alright, so we found out that combo's not quite enough to kill off DB at the moment. But it sure as hell was close. Boomy, back in again. Avalanche Toss, not enough for LYM either. The Ethereal gonna save his life. The Shard doing so much work. Boomy, or rather Wami, is gonna take down Boomy. And they still find 2 kills for their trouble. So a very aggressive jump back in from Boomy does end up paying for it.
Yeah, still Mac is in an angle where he could jump back in pretty low on HP, and I think AG is going to be satisfied with those 2 kills. Only support kills, so 2 supports for 1 support. Not the worst scenario for Polaris, but if you're AG, again, you take what you can get. You just try to reel back this network. You try to keep piling on to your Terrorblade. DB, he's got the Chrysalis up. He's going for his Silver Edge. The break is going to be especially helpful up against a couple of these heroes. If they want to burst down to Tiny, you just break him down, make it really easy to handle. So AG are starting to build up. They're reaching the point where Terrorblade is an issue. He has way too much HP. The magic damage burst is not enough. And they're going to have to find a different way of dropping that Terrorblade load to get a good sight. I think they have to just be patient with the sight. Like, get the initial burst, but hold the sight on for at least a couple of auto attacks and go from there.
Still a 10k net worth lead for Polaris. But it doesn't really feel that way. Like, AG at any moment could try to fight back and maybe make it work. Both teams right now just focused in on that next Roshan. Such an important objective. It's 25 seconds away from respawning. Looks like the side of Polaris should have first dibs on that next Roshan. Find out very soon, though, as AG, they are still posturing quite aggressively here, just in preparation for that Roshan to spawn up. I mean, DB's completely across the map, but he's got the TP up to the outpost, so he'll be just fine to make his way over when the time comes. We'll just see if Polaris actually want to try and force the Roshan fight early on, or whether they're going to try and wait it out. Maybe after a good team fight themselves, they could go after the Roshan, but AG look to be the ones that maybe don't wait. They've grouped up again. Not quite ready for a big smoke up yet, but both teams are well and truly aware that the Roshan is available now.
Yeah, they've got information on both sides, watching the pit entrance. So no one's going to be able to just slide in and get a free Rosh. That does make it tough for both sides. They're holding good positions, right? High ground being held by Polaris under triangle. Just getting the farm going. AG as well playing on their side of the river. They understand how big this next Roshan will be. Still, they are ready to force the issue here. I think when you have this Terrorblade up with the Silver Edge already up in DB, he hits like a truck. So you should be feeling confident. As long as DB doesn't get immediately bursted down and sighted out, he will be able to hold his own. He even gets the full SNY. So the stat resist going to be a massive part in keeping him alive. But there's that smoke from Polaris.
Ready for it, they jump in. Wami, he's got the arena down, but the tiny avalanche toss Reaper's scythe. It's more than enough. Wami's gone. They are still going to try and go on to Boomy, but he's more than safe as now Mac. He's jumped into all four of them with this BKB, but DB is doing so much damage. He does get the blink off in time. Sunstrike is on the mark, but it's going to be shared. Nico absorbs some of the damage there with him. Still a big smoke up. AG, they want to keep this fight up. Back in onto Boomy. They want the Tiny down and they'll get him. Can you force the Roshan now?
Yeah, I think you can. You do lack the arena. And there is still a Wukong's on Polaris. There's still a really good spot to fight. DB has to be a bit cautious, but looks like they will try to bait in. A lot hangs on Azura to use his spells right here.
DB still just slowly chipping away at this Roche. Nico, with Spider Legs, of course, going to be able to just continue to keep tabs on that Roshan's HP. You've got the Shivers Guard up as well on Matt. Roshan getting very, very low DB. He's going to put an end to it now. Not going to go too far. Boomy, he'll be back up in 5. Kisses. Oh, he used the kisses. That's a bit awkward.
Makes it tough for Polaris to re-engage. They need a lot of damage to deal with TB, and there's the Mater with Alacrity.
Here is Natsumi gonna go in. DB, how fast can you click? He's got the Aegis up on the Terrorblade, and now they've got the Snapfire down. CML the first target. He will respawn though, or rather buy back into the Terrorize. They've got Natsumi, but no, the Aegis is gonna drop Natsumi. He is somehow still alive. They can't kill him off. Eventually he finally goes down, but DB's been completely surrounded. He will try to man up and fight. In fact, he's doing a great job of it. But eventually they get the damage through. And it seemed like a great start, but just not quite enough here for AG.
Yeah,
it's a costly Roshan. They did get the Aegis, they did get the kills, so Cold went their way. Although, Azura.
Sunstrike is there, Cookie is committed. Scatterblast to push him back and stun him up. Azura eventually will get the kill. And that is actually a dieback on CML, so a very nice pick off there from Azura.
Yeah, it's an important one to kind of even it out. So in the end, it's basically a 4 for 4. You killed CML twice, then you killed the Necros and the Monkey King. You did lose 4 heroes as well. Very even in terms of that exchange. I think Polaris are happy with that. They managed to stop the Terrorblade with Aegis potentially sieging their high ground. They force AG to just constantly get these heroes out onto the Roche to force that fight. And Polaris, they still slow down that spike. So they keep the lead their way, 11k. They are eventually going to hit the point where our Monkey King should be much better equipped. We do see Natsumi going for the Butterfly next. So that evasion is pretty darn strong against a Terrorblade, especially if he doesn't break you first. You're not going to be able to get hits off onto Monkey. Combine that with his large armor and Wukong's means that we saw him struggle with him in the pit. It's going to be even worse once that full Butterfly is up. Still a ways off from it, though. For the side of AG, I guess in a way this Midas has paid off for Azura Might. Like, he is very close to the Ags. He's gotten EXP. They haven't been able to play around because of that.
That is very true. I do give you that. The Midas pickup is paying off. Obviously, the longer the game goes on, the more valuable that Midas becomes. And I believe the Axe is now officially on the way for him. In fact, there you go. Fully up. Cataclysm now up and available. Polaris still well and truly in the lead. In fact, let's have a look at Dota Plus. Dota Plus seems to think it's about a 68% kind of lead. So as high as the net worth is, high as the XP graph is, it's still not enough to give them a really huge advantage. I'd say 68% is pretty fair, though, considering how this game's gone.
Yeah, I think it's giving enough weighting to how AG's playing. It's giving weighting to the fact that AG has this massive Terrorblade that you can just toss Alacrity onto and just melt everyone else with. And that is still something Polaris needs to deal with. It does feel like...
Oh boy. There you go. There's LYM gone, but now they're Oh, the cookie!
Cookie again!
Oh, Boomy with a high jump. The Olympics are back in 2021. Wami, he's going to keep the chase up with TB. They've at least got CML down on the Snapfire. And now Azura does catch out the Tiny. They might find a second. Boomy, he's gone. Any more they can catch? Not quite. In fact, never mind, because Mac is showing in the mid lane, going for this creep skip. Will blink away, could they catch him out? Not quite. Wami, he tried, but not going to find the Queen of Pain.
Yeah, and I think in the end, AG is still going to be happy with that. 2 support kills doesn't sound big, but they did force out the Reaper's Sight. It's a minute 10 where you don't have to worry about just being bursted out of nowhere and going on to a long respawn just from that spell use. So AG again are just keeping this game in check, getting much more farm onto DB. He has the Satanic pretty much done and flying out. So our Terrorblade, Satanic, Scotty, Silver Edge, SNY, BKB. This guy is massive. You cannot just burst down DB anymore. He has too much HP. He has so much damage. He has so much lifesteal. And the answers from Polaris are, they are there, but they have to play their cards right. They can't just commit to one support and call it a day now. They kind of have to gun for DB and take him out.
That they do. Just a very hard ask. I mean, on the bright side, you've got Mac with the Scythe device up now, and he is working towards that Bloodthorn, so there is certainly some damage amp coming in from our Quap. With how tanky this TB is, you start to question how they're going to do it. Top lane, though. A lot of rotations coming in. Polaris, Mac, both there, setting up, ready to go, and Boomy would love a nice toss back right now on anybody. They might just have it. Mac will go in onto the Undying. Wami trying to reinitiate, but he's just been pushed around. Just flying everywhere. Onto the Invoker now. Asura, he went back in, but Reaper's Sight gonna be out. Nico, he'll take another, and now they'd love the team fight. Wami, he's still going to try with DB. Natsumi, he'll try to man up. Wukong's command is out. So much bonus armor. Natsumi, he's not taking too much damage. Terrorize, not going to do enough either, but the spear away might be enough to at least ward him off. DB, he'll keep trying. CML is in trouble, but they've got the Hex out now. DB will have to back off for a bit, but he's back onto Boomy. He'll try to get this Tiny down, and he'll find him. So it looked pretty bad to start for AG. The team fight still goes the way of Polaris, but DB is still kind of unkillable right now.
Yeah, he's still a massive issue. They had to commit the Reaper sight onto an Invoker, which is a good target to go for. Longer respawn for Azura, not going to be up for a minute 10, so, you know, he's going to have to find something else to do in this downtime, maybe tab out. But AG, they're showing just how strong this Terrorblade is. All the net worth of AG, the only reason this deficit's only at 14k, and I say only, is because DB is still number 1 at 28k net worth. 2k ahead of Mac, 3k ahead of Natsumi. They have sacrificed everything else on AG's side to enable DB. And we're reaching a point where he doesn't really have item slots left. He could still sell the power treads if he wants to go for one additional item. But you are reaching the max output of the TB, whereas for Polaris, I think there's still a lot of room left here for Natsumi. He could sell his boots as well. He could sell the Echo Saber, so that's 2 item slots more that Natsumi can play with. That's 2 more item slots where he can just power up. He's getting the Satanic next. That will help him in the 1v1. It'll really help him survive because it will counteract the Scotty completely, as we've seen time and time and again. So I think the scaling is actually starting to look good for Polaris. Like, the Terrorblade is, once it's capped out, I don't see any other hero that can really make use of more golden items to help them pile on. It really is just a Terrorblade show.
Certainly is, Jonathan. Certainly is. Looks like the that last item you talked about is probably going to be the Bloodthorn. So he wants one of his own. Not much to really block that out, apart from the BKBs, but the DB obviously going to try and time that very well for himself and just give him that guaranteed crit over. Not going to risk it with a, say, Daedalus pickup, just rather wanting that guaranteed crit for everyone on the team. We saw, though, against Natsumi, like, against the Monkey... Oh, that's a nice scan. Natsumi, bounced right out. So I was talking about the Natsumi Monkey King just a second ago, John. In the Wukong's command, he was just taking no damage from DB. Like, he took none.
Oh, yeah. It's silly. Like, he's got the evasion, he gets so much armor from that as well. 24 bonus on top of his 37. It's basically unkillable. They don't have a way of taking out that evasion. Again, their damage output's physical as well. So Monkey Kush kind of enjoys it. And once Natsumi does get that Satanic, you are in for trouble. Boomy does manage to even take the outpost back. No one jumping in for the kill. Probably not expecting Boomy alone, although.
The Avalanche Toss there. Wami trying to set up, gets the arena up, and this time around the Cookie will not mess him up. Into the Sunstrike, Boomy, he's somehow still alive. Chaos meter to be dropped. Mac, though, going to jump into the backside, onto the Mars. Wants some sweet revenge, but he's not going to be able to achieve it. He's going to have to back off, accepting Boomy's death. So now DB's coming in. You've got that Bloodthorn up now, but Mac, he still has the BKB, and apparently he has a Lincoln Sphere up as well. Or at least somebody does. Wami, trying to go for more, but be able to find it.
It's the spell talent, right? Like, it's
the
right. 25, so you just naturally get a free item slot, item effect there, and they immediately turn around. They smoke up, they've got their own Bloodthorn on Mac, so even more control coming through. DB, he's back into Roshan. This could be risky.
I mean, you've got to try, right? Like, this is an Aghanim Scepter available as well. Both teams will kind of just love that right now. DB, we've seen this story before. Last time around, he was able to just out-click Natsumi and pick up the Aegis, but this time around, it could not work out as Wami. He's been caught out on the Mars, and he's gone. And it's not looking great. Wami's going to commit a buyback. Maybe after this Wukong's, they can just go back in and try again. You know, you've already committed the buyback on Wami. You may as well give it a crack. They'll drop the Tombstone. They seem very kind of split on what to do, though. DB not really hitting the Roshan yet. Natsumi, he's going to come in. BKB up. Great bound to strike out. He's got 2, and now with the refresh and the Cataclysm flying in. Still nobody dying. Maybe eventually they get CML, but a big Sonic Wave out from Mac. Meanwhile, DB trying to man fight against Natsumi, and Natsumi this time around taking damage with the Reaper side this out.
Oh.
Nico, he does burst down the Terrorblade, and now they can finish off the Roshan. Or can they? Azura's still around with OYM. But they're not enough to try and counter out this Roshan. Still, the side of Polaris have left the Roshan be. They aren't going back after it. It looks like they want the Aegis to go the way of Natsumi. Now Azura trying to help out LYM, but I'm not sure if there's any helping here. Curse Crown gonna buy a bit more time. Mac is gonna be there. Oh, and he gets the Hex off.
We have revenged him.
The tree broke on him, John. The tree blocking LYM just casually broke.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. And AG find themselves in a very awkward position now. At the least, Polaris not going for the Aegis. They're going to have some respawns up by the time the Monkey King's up so they can contest, but their high ground's going to be sieged up. One-man defense show for Azura, and that is not an easy job here.
And it is not.
Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's middle tower
Polaris.
is under attack.
Keep moving in. That tier 3 tower, Natsumi, he'll be back up in 20. You've got 50 seconds without DB. Plenty of time to at least claim one lane of barracks and just go back for that Roshan attempt.
Dire's middle barracks is fortified.
Now you definitely just rush back to the Roshan.
Dire's middle barracks
Pings out, Natsumi, he'll be able to TP over. And you've got an Aegis cheese and a beautiful Aghanim Scepter waiting for you. Ag's going to Natsumi, you reckon, John?
Yeah, it's pretty darn good. Gives him even more presence in the Wukongs. Probably the safest bet. Just pile onto your core, give him free item without taking up the slot. And there you go. Just take it. He is going to have to juggle his items around, and he does eat the Aegis. So there, the monkeys on command will be showing up. Even tougher to fight into Natsumi now. He is running around with no boots, so he is a bit slow, but when you have tree dance, it doesn't really matter. Outside of AG now, this is awkward. No buyback on DB. He is completely out of gold, 2.6k away. He is fully slotted up. And we have seen the Terrorblade, it can hold its own in these fights, but I don't think you really want a 1v1. You really need to back up DB when he's focusing on Natsumi. Just try to burst him down when he's low.
Rattles out. Natsumi, they've got to kill him off 2 times. Wami, he's in. He's got the Arena Spear out. Cataclysm with the drop. Maybe they can burst him down, but not quite. Natsumi, he'll survive. Boundless Strike, Sonic Wave, everything been thrown. Wami, no, he gets a TP off.
What?
He actually got the TP off. So Wami's going to survive. And they get nothing. They'll have to reset here, Polaris.
They forced out the Wukong, so that does mean Matsumi's going to have to pop a refresh if they do take this fight in the next minute. At the same time, AG are going to be down Arena for a little bit, so they won't have that tool up front. And I think Natsumi doesn't mind too much. They're just going to shove out the lane again, look to move up top.
are scanning.
AG, they have to find that angle. DB, he's walking pretty far from base here, just trying to get farm. Does have the TP, but I think he's going to really have to help out in this defense now.
Yeah, certainly so. Army Geniuses still holding on to that high ground. Only 1 racks down so far. Still, the 38k net worth lead is a little bit problematic, for sure. Still, they are doing a decent job of just holding back Polaris. Obviously, they do feel like they need some form of a pick-off before they can really go high ground. DB is definitely not the answer they're looking for there. I mean, he's just way too tanky to take out. Just be the last target here for Polaris once they get through the rest of the team. I mean, how long do you stick here, John? I mean, Polaris, they've been standing here for a minute or 2 now. Boomy maybe getting a toss back might get started really well in this team fight. He's moving in. Avalanche is there, but the Shadow Realm not going to allow the toss. He does juke out the spear though. Mac, he's in as well. On to Azura. He'd love the Invoker, but look at DB. Look at the damage output. Just with the Bloodthorn alone and the melee. Shred through Boomy. That'll mean they, again, will have to reset. And it looks like they've already drawn the line out towards the bot lane instead.
Yeah. Probably just gun for that tier 2 first. And get even more objectives off the map to ensure that the creep wave can find an angle in the bot lane as well. just gun from there. You have to admire how much damage a Terrorblade does do with Alacrity and the Demon Zeal up. He can do a lot, even outside of Metamorphosis. You don't necessarily have to commit to that for DB.
Oh, TP!
Oh god.
Oh boy, TP! He played it so perfectly for such a long time. And then he just comes in, he just gets below the staircase there, John. Goes to the low ground by 1 centimeter and that's it, he's gone.
Oh man. Polaris, they don't realize he doesn't have buyback. It does come off now.
Okay.
So there is still potential for the defense here on AG's side. They will buy back.
Cataclysm back, no, the cookie. It's going to take out a lot of the damage, and now with the cheese up, he'll refresh. Still goes for the fight against Wami, but eventually will blink away. Azura, DB, they're rushing forward. There's your meta pop now, Natsumi. He does not care. He'll ignore it. Wukong's command TP out. He'll be fine. He can't quite get the melee barracks, but you force the buyback, and that'll be enough.
Yeah, I like that Polaris is still respecting the position of AG. They still understand that, you know, the Terrorblade can hit like a truck. We don't want to necessarily deal with that yet. They will finally get their final item on Natsumi though. The Satanic is up. So the Monkey King is also 6 slotted up. Could be 7 slotted if you just want to pop that refresh in and out. And we are reaching the end of scaling now for everyone, although...
Yep. Arena, Spear is there, Boomy in a bit of danger here, getting caught by the brambles as well. Might just be... Oh, never, he's definitely not fine now. He still uses up, he is buying some more time, but eventually they will get him. That's something for AG. But they aren't going to be able to capitalize off that. Or maybe they can, 5-man smoke, they're going to try it. You're kind of in dire straits anyway. You're at the point where you've got to try something with your Army Genius. This is the first time they've gotten out of the base. They've got a great target, but nobody makes the jump in. Just no confidence in being able to take down Natsumi quick enough before the BKB Satanic gets popped. And by the way, John, in case you hadn't noticed, we're about 6 minutes away from T5 items.
Oh, goody. That is a joy to hear. I would like to see Giant's Ring. I think that's what everyone pretty much says. But Giant's Ring on Monkey King. Wouldn't that be fun? A gigantic monkey jumping around. Or a Giant's Ring for DB. And when he pops Metamorphosis, that model will pop at your screen, I swear. So, that would be fun. I don't know if this game will last that much longer, but if they do hold even with how well AG's been defending, it could drag on for a bit more. So, we'll see. Polaris grouping up top once more. They do have that Satanic to use on Natsumi when Wukong's is ready. So he could force the fight.
Almost bring in Natsumi, just going to go after the melee barracks. Wukong's will be committed once again. EMP out, they are delaying a little bit. It's not going to do too much though. Natsumi does get the barracks and that'll be enough for him. Can AG understand they are still 1 barracks up. So they're okay with this, I think. They just couldn't find the opening for a decent team fight, but maybe now they can move in. CML going to run right into Wami, not expecting the Mars to be around, and well, that'll be something for them. And you may as well leave it up to the RNG cards here if you're AG now. So in 5 minutes, things are going to get very, very fun. And if you get lucky enough, you never know.
You could be blessed.
Nah, you'll be okay. Go on.
You could also go for the Ex Machina. Like a lower cooldown BKB, basically 20-second BKB is always great. That could be one way for DB, although...
Oh, he's got Natsumi! The arena, it chops down the tree. Natsumi is still going to go for the fight. The push down to the low ground. The Cataclysm, they've got it! No, not quite, DB! He's going to get taken down. They just haven't got enough damage. It's never enough for Army Geniuses. As Varish now drops as well. That's 2 heroes without buyback. This game should just be over. I just cannot see a defense without the Terrorblade up. Not for 2 minutes. Mac now, going for more. He's found a Sora. That'll be another. Wami, you could try to run. I don't think there's any running in. Yeah, the only way you run is you call GG.
Ooh, that was a spectacular performance from Polaris. AG, you know, they They had a couple of moments bouncing back in. They put all their eggs in one basket trying to get DB big, and we have seen AG do that before with their old roster as well. That used to be one of their win conditions. If Wami doesn't have a great lane, if Mamang Daya back then didn't have a running start, they would just put out and hold out all hope for DB to carry them through. They tried to replicate that here. Issue was, we saw it early on, DB did run out of item slots. So all that gold going to the Terrorblade, he was already 6 slot. They needed to get more farm elsewhere, whereas for Polaris, they had really good distribution with Natsumi and Mac. Mac was also allowed to build up. His Queen of Pain scaled into the late game. He managed to put in some work. And for AG, I think the issue was really down to the fact that their early fights didn't work out. Wami just did not have the impact he needed to have on the Mars. Like those early rotations, the arenas weren't landing until the end. Even that last arena was unfortunate because he did catch Natsumi. He speared him back towards a Terrorblade.
Yeah.
And it probably wasn't the right move in that situation. And the same thing for Azura. The Invoker didn't really win out its matchup. Really well played from Mac, though, to balance that out. But I think AG needs to win their lanes, really, to hold a candle to Polaris. Because when they fall flat like that, the hyper-scaling seems to be there from Polaris and the decision-making as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was a very fantastic game, though, right? A game one, a real close matchup between these two, and I look very forward to seeing how we kind of pan out to finish off the night between these two teams. Of course, we are going to head to a short 10-minute break, and right after the break, we'll be back with game 2 between Polaris and Army Geniuses.